Hello, and welcome to another episode of the podcast where we look to reassure everyone that football is fixable. Alright? Hello, Sess.
Hello.
How are you, Sess Pitt? You alright?
All right. Yeah, not bad at all.
It's been a big week for you, actually, isn't it? It's been, you're old now. It's been your birthday.
I've caught up with you. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're wiser than you were. You're not quite as wise as me yet, but you've turned a year wiser, haven't you?
I mean, I don't think so, because I think I was just wise enough.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Have you already peaked at wisdom?
Yeah, I don't want to be wiser.
You can't level up anymore.
Yeah, no thanks. No, if I know... problem is that the more I know, the more I forget.
Does that happen? So you forget...
Yeah,
when you learn more things, you lose other things.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I've forgotten that I probably wouldn't have forgotten if I'd stopped learning. So if anything, it's the school's fault for continuing education into the late teens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
God, you're old. You're forgetting things already. No, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
We talked about this, about do we want to give you a special treat, like a Everton-related episode and that kind of thing, and you were saying, to be honest, no.
What is there to talk about? Should we talk about the relegation battles Everton's been in recently?
Yeah, so I don't want to prepare you for something. I've got a surprise Everton, or I didn't do anything, if that's all right.
No, I think that's fair. I was talking to a friend recently about Everton, and they said, why do you support Everton? And I said, well, I always liked an underdog. And the thing is, Everton's last title, I think, was the year before we were born. So I've never actually seen Everton succeed in much at all. I think the last trophy was FA Cup in '95.
Yeah.
We got to the final of the FA Cup against Chelsea 2007 or something. But that's about it, really. So
you get the League Cup final recently as well. You've had a few near misses, haven't you?
Final? Was
that a final or semi-final? I saw Everton did quite well.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't
in the last
final.
10 years or something. You got to a...
I would have been more excited if it was a final. I don't think it was.
Oh, okay. Well, didn't you get... I thought it was against Everton. Like, Rooney scored against
Everton?
No, Everton against United, and Rooney scored or something, didn't he? That was like a League Cup final or something like that. I have to look this up now. It proves that we haven't scripted episodes.
Yeah.
We don't really know what we're saying.
No, exactly.
Which is amazing when we come out with all the great stuff that we do come out with.
Yeah,
it
before
proves
we pressed record, we were coming up with brilliant stuff, weren't we? But now all of a sudden we go, did they score?
That's the thing. We've had a bit of food and that kind of stuff, and we've been chatting for a couple of hours. We had some really good chats, like how we broke football down, logical, all that kind of stuff, analytical thinking.
Yeah, and it's stuff that people can learn off of as well.
Exactly, because I think it wasn't recorded. That's the thing.
We've mentioned before that the stuff that we chat about off air, apparently, are the things that aren't normally spoken about. People don't really point it out. Pundits, ex-footballers, other people that we know, to be honest, don't really talk about it.
That's the thing. I think that's where we're different, isn't it?
Yeah. And
that's it. No one's actually accused us of being too similar to that, FIFA, which obviously sounds nothing like our name.
No, not at all. We didn't actually get influence from them. We just came up with Football is Fixable, all right. And it just happened to...
Yeah. We're nothing like them. I mean, in terms of corruption... I mean, they're not corrupt at all, where we're completely corrupt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
corruption from the top for us, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just a culture of corruption with us. But whereas FIFA are squeaky clean. So
also because as we established that I'm the alpha,
did we?
The main one. Pretty sure we.
Did you have this in a meeting that I didn't attend?
Yes, the shareholders meeting that I had. Yeah. We talked about you actually. Wanted to.
Oh right, yeah.
A possible change of.
Well, as chairman, I talked with the board of directors, and we're thinking of sacking the CEO. This is what we talk about off air, isn't it? We're texting each other. Yeah, but I'm the CEO.
Yeah. We have found several ways to sack each other, but the problem is because I said I was CEO, then you said you were the chairman of the board, and I said I was the shareholder. Can we go any higher than that? Because
the shareholders are really the owners, and the chairman and the board, and even the CEO sort of answer to them. Sorry, everyone, we're talking about. So we go
if anyone wants to try and find a way that we can sack each other,
but we did actually start looking up how to sack. How do you sack a CEO? How do you sack a chairman? And it's kind of like the board can agree to vote to get rid of the CEO.
Yeah.
And as the chairman of the board, my vote is the casting vote as well. So I could do that, but also the CEO can have the chairman replaced. So we agreed to just mutually work together.
Yeah, I mean,
the greater good, isn't it?
For the greater good, it probably doesn't work out to have a conversation with yourself after the person gets sacked. That's a great idea, isn't it?
I fill myself with yes men. Wait, that sounds. Let's move on.
I'm keeping that, by the way.
No. You need to edit that out. So happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, 30 something, very old and wise.
Yeah,
wiser
than you.
What are you? I'm 20 days wiser than you, actually. So
20 days more to forget. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, good point. In that time, since my birthday, you've had a go at me. I need to bring the viewers up to speed on this.
You've had a go at you?
Yeah, you did. You apparently accused me of being too Arsenal based.
Which you are, aren't you?
Because as head of marketing, I do a lot of marketing activity, as you know. Loads of my video. I had visits from Christian Bale. Gary Oldman as Police Commissioner Gordon and stuff like that.
Catwoman.
Some Catwoman, yeah. Selena Kyle popped in and we did some great recording sessions.
Yeah.
My marketing creativity is genius. And as part of that, I have liked a few Arsenal things and stuff like that, as well as a few others. But yeah, you actually told me off, didn't you?
Yeah. Well,
you got a real go at me.
As CEO, I and the creative director, head of IT as well. I felt as though you were, let's say that yes, you did like a few Arsenal things.
But see, that was I like loads of stuff.
No. That's the problem. You say you like loads of things, but then I looked on the Arsenal page and you liked almost everything Arsenal, and then one or two of some other teams, and then you were like, the comments you made for the other teams were kind of, oh yeah, what do you think about this and that and stuff? Yeah, whereas Arsenal, you're like, come on you gooners. And
yeah, that was it. You said, come on you gooners. I was like, oh yeah, I did say that.
Yeah.
Whoops. So yes.
And it was just so overwhelmingly Arsenal. Like on the feed when it shows suggestions of things, like everything was Arsenal because
I regret giving you access to the admin. Or you could see all of that.
It's a good thing you did. As head of IT, I need to know this stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. As head of catering, do you want a coffee later? Because if you do, I'd be quiet if I were you.
Yeah. Does that mean you're also my assistant? Because as CEO, you're bringing me my coffees. So,
moving on. What are we talking about today? Well, it was actually after we chatted about pundits last time, didn't we?
Yeah.
We some of the stuff they say and how they should talk about things. It just made us think, didn't it? That actually there's a lot of things that have been said in football. There's lots of famous phrases. We need to, get stuck into those and actually say, hang on a minute. There's lots of things that really don't make any sense.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun as well because there's a lot of stuff that's been said that's ridiculous. We know that the famous people like Michael Owen who would come out with absolute clangers.
They're belters, aren't they?
Yeah, but there's
lot actually of them, websites dedicated to it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them I think people don't realise. A lot of them, people might not even notice that what's being said is absolutely ridiculous.
That's the thing. Like we have done on previous episodes, we're going to make people aware of it, so they start spotting these things from now on.
In fact, actually, in light of that, there was an episode on our podcast where I think loads of people, probably no one noticed, and we didn't notice until we listened to it again, when you asked one of our guests, do you think football is the problem in football?
No, I didn't say that.
You absolutely did. I'm going to find it and I'm going to play it again.
No.
I can't remember what you meant to say.
Like they do on different shows, you can get a clip and just paste it in.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say that.
Put it in your voice.
Yeah. No, that's not me.
Yeah, I can't remember what you meant. Is money the problem in football? I think you meant
culture or something, was it? It might have been a culture episode.
We just ended up saying it's football the problem. And the rest of us didn't.
None of you picked it up until afterwards. Not that I said it, by the way. I'm not agreeing.
Absolutely.
I'm not admitting that. So today we're particularly looking at some of the silly sort of quotes or famous phrases that come out in football that we think, that there's actually sometimes there might be an element of truth to it, but we need to actually pick those things out.
And we want our listeners to give us the ones that they've heard as well.
Yeah, that's another thing. So please do let us know. You'll get the idea in a minute. So some of the quotes, we'll give a couple of examples, and it'd be great for other people to let us know what their sort of favourite phrases, easy for me to say.
Yeah, should we start with some Owen ones, just so people understand?
Oh, go on. That sets the scene straight away. So Michael Owen's come out with some clangers, like you say.
Well, there was a live game, Man United game that I watched ages ago, and United just signed Memphis Depay, and I remember Michael Owen just out of nowhere he would say, "He looks like a footballer, doesn't he?"
Yes,
Michael.
I suppose he does, actually. Yeah. Does being in a football kit help?
Yeah, on a football pitch. Yeah, but there's another one that he said, which I think it was a Man City game, and you can understand what he was trying to say, but what he said is just ridiculous. So he said, if they don't score, they hardly ever win.
He's getting paid to say this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if it meant that we could be on Sky week in, week out and get paid big bucks to say this kind of stuff.
It's the easiest money you're ever going to earn, isn't it?
Well, actually, it'd probably be more difficult for us to come up with stuff like that.
I know, how does he... You never get me saying anything silly like that.
No.
Not going to...
Yeah, we'll come to that.
No,
for your students especially, I would say.
What?
Yeah.
No, they can't hear it. No.
Oh, they absolutely can.
You started recording things that I said over the years.
Yeah. I want to, at some point, when I get enough, I want to make a book of James quotes.
I'm just wise. I just come out with like gurus and stuff that come out famous phrases and motivational and spirit.
It'll be as famous as that, I'm sure, but I don't think for the same reason.
Okay, so, my favourite Michael Owen quote, going back to Michael Owen.
Oh, yeah.
What a shot! That's completely unstoppable, but the keeper's got to do better for me. That's why that was the one which always stood out for me. That's
he's brilliant. I love it. But,
so you get the idea. So that's what we're doing. We're looking at famous football quotes or phrases or statements, but actually they don't really make sense. It's sort of we're going to throw a few clangers out there, but there's also some that are used a lot. They're kind of in football folklore, aren't they? In the sense that they're used. It's like cross generations. These phrases keep reappearing.
Yeah, and if you
game of two halves and things like that.
If you want to pretend to be a footballer or a football manager, and you're just pretending to be interviewed, you'd say stuff like, "Yeah, it's a game of two halves." At the end of the day,
at the end of the end of the day. Why everything's the end of the day?
Yeah. Well, what if it's a 1 o'clock kickoff? You know,
where did he get this from?
Yeah.
We've actually put down some of our favourites, haven't we? So have you got like your top list of your favourites?
Yeah.
Should we go like our top 5 each or something like that? See who's got the best top 5 and we'll take it in turn?
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to have to go back to Graham Souness, I would say.
Oh, you and Souness.
You know what, actually, I was about to have a go at Souness again, but I probably don't have to because you're in agreement with me.
I messaged you after he said something ridiculous. Nothing to do with Arsenal, obviously.
No.
What was that one about again? It was something to do with Klopp being a legend or something, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, Klopp is more of a legend than Wenger. So
I mean, what?
Yeah, so the idea...
Yeah, he's an idiot. Not having it.
The idea that Souness had, this was an interview with Simon Jordan, he said that in order to be a legend as a manager, you have to win the Champions League. So the moment you win the Champions League, you become a legend.
Right.
And so that's why he said Wenger isn't a legend, but Klopp is. So that was his argument.
Yeah.
And so Simon Jordan, he loves to absolutely show up people's ridiculousness.
Yeah.
And he said, well, so if Klopp's a legend...
For winning the Champions League.
Yeah, what's Fergie? What's Pep? And Souness decided to come out with saying that he's a bigger legend. But we probably need to come up with a new word for it, he said.
Oh, right.
Even though he decided
legend isn't big enough.
Yeah.
They're bigger legends.
Yeah, but, what about Roberto Di Matteo? He was at Chelsea for a season and a half.
Yeah, he was a caretaker, I think, wasn't he?
He won a Champions League and then he didn't do so well, he got sacked. So he's a legend and Wenger isn't. That's Souness's idea.
I think in the league they finished, was 8th or something, or was 5th or 8th or whatever it was, 12th maybe, I don't know, whatever it was. Chelsea didn't perform that well in the league, but they won the Champions League.
Yeah.
And he's a legend for that.
Yeah. This is what I mean with Souness. He's just, it's almost as though he talks before he thinks about what he says.
You know that Souness has the whole Paul Pogba thing?
Oh, yeah.
You have the Souness thing, don't you?
Yeah.
Graham Souness.
At the very least, there's a reason for it. Like, the whole thing with Souness and Pogba doesn't even have to do anything, and Souness will blame Pogba.
I think it was just the way, because Pogba's got that kind of lazy walk or whatever, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's like Berbatov. He had a sort of style
Yeah.
that just frustrates people. It seems like it's like that with Souness, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I would say that's got to be one of the ones up there. But that was mentioned purely because you came up with Souness having to go at Arsenal. The thing that I was going to mention with Souness was in the same interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were talking about Henderson, and Souness said Henderson's best attribute is his athleticism and his attitude.
Both attributes.
But yeah, both of them.
Both of those are his best attribute.
Yeah, it's almost like the Monty Python sketch, isn't it? Like, nobody expects a spare position. Biggest fear is surprise. Surprise and fear. Our two.
Yeah. Our younger listeners aren't going to understand that reference, I would imagine. But
that's a shame, isn't it? They won't understand Monty Python.
Actually, take our advice, go and watch some Monty Python. That's, I mean, genius. One of the best British exports of all time.
Yeah, Holy Grail, Life of Brian.
Life of Brian, yeah. And Flying Circus, the actual series, wasn't it? It was amazing.
Yeah. Meaning in Life was a bit poor, but it's for their standards.
By their standards, yeah. But it's just hilarious. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. But yeah, so what's one of yours?
So my, what would I say I've got in 5th place? Let's have a look at this. There's one I mentioned to you a little while, well, it was quite a few years ago. I think we were living together at the time, and I said, well, they always say he's using all of his experience. What's all of his experience?
Can you still hear it now, don't you?
You still hear it. I heard it last week or something. And look out for this, okay, listeners. He's used all of his experience there. What's that? You can't use part of it.
Yeah.
I'm only going to use a little bit of my experience now.
Yeah, exactly. So if he does well, because they only say that when someone's done something well, does that mean if they don't do well, you go, well, he didn't use enough of his experience there?
Yeah, you don't hear it that way round, funnily enough. What is that statement about? To say he has, he's using his experience, that's fine. But it's always, he's used some of his experience. There was one I sent you a text recently, I can't remember exactly how I worded it, but a commentator came out and said something along the lines of, he's used some of his experience there, or something, some of his old experience, or something along those lines. How are you measuring this?
Yeah. You can say things like, he's had experience in this, but experience is experience, isn't it? It's just weird how someone at the beginning of time must have said all of experience, and then people just kind of
keep using it.
Yeah,
I think it was against, because it was Arsenal Porto, wasn't it, Champions League this week, and Pepe, the old Portuguese guy, defender, is still playing, and and they were saying, he's used all of his experience there, and it's just every time look out for this. You could play like football bingo or whatever it is, and tick that off most games it comes out, that one. Well,
along the same lines of that, next one for me then, and you're gonna hate this one.
Oh, what?
That's football.
What's wrong with that? Football special, Sess. We know this.
Yeah. I know it's unique and it's
not like any other sport.
It's an art. Yeah, I know.
It is an art. Yeah, it's the beautiful game.
It's the fact that whenever players are getting interviewed and they say, "Yeah, but that's football, isn't it? That's anything happens in football."
Anything can happen in football.
Anything can happen in football.
That's kind of like a subcategory of that, isn't it?
Yeah, and if there's a lot of football fans listening, going, "What's wrong with that? What game can you not put that? Well, that's cricket. That's rugby. That's boxing. That's
no. That doesn't sound right, does it?
Well, because it does. In boxing, one knockout. That's it. One punch, knockout. That's the end of the fight, and it could be an upset. That's boxing for you. No, that makes sense.
That sounds ridiculous. So you said this to me it was fairly recently, wasn't it? You said that doesn't make sense. It's not that's football, and it began. Yeah. I think that was the beginning of your rant against people who think that football's unique.
Yeah.
That you use that as in your armoury, where you throw that out there every now and again.
Yeah.
Off air, a lot of the time, you're just having a go. So these people who think football's so special.
And then, just like we were saying with your one, it's just so often you hear it, don't you? And you go, well,
that's football.
Yeah, anything can happen in football. Yes, that's the whole point. if it's obvious, tonight's game is Man United and Arsenal, where we definitely know that Man United's going to win. Well, what's the point in watching it then?
Yeah, but right. No, but in some sports, you get, that's a whitewash, it's going to be easy, it's predictable. I don't know, football's special, isn't it? I am partly trying to just annoy you now, because I know how much it frustrates you.
It is so frustrating.
Yeah, no, I get that. And sort of, again, it's kind of in line with that, really, is the kind of, the game of two halves thing, isn't it? Sort of, that's one of the famous I remember growing up on that.
Yeah.
In football, you go, it's a game of two halves,
Yeah.
And it's just, well, yes, but it implies that it's one thing and then it's completely different in the second half. It isn't always at all. It is when it is a game of two halves. So that's completely contrasting halves. One team's one top, then the other team's on top.
Yeah.
But when it isn't, it isn't.
It's normally a flow in the game, so it can happen after 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't happen every half.
Exactly, momentum shifts and things. Yeah.
And if it occasionally happens every half, then you've got to say, like, well, then there's no point in saying it.
Yeah, the saying doesn't... It's not a rule, that's the thing. They say it like it's a rule, but it's like, no, that only just describes the game you've just watched.
Yeah. A while ago, I had this female boss, and the reason why I mentioned that she's a female is important, because her boss is male, and he had a go at her about something. And so she came over to me and said, "Oh, men." And I said, "Well, hang on, that it was just that guy that had a go at you." And she said, "All right, some men." And I went, "But if it's some men, why are you pointing out men?"
That's just exactly. You're labelling.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like with your quote, it's what's the point in pointing out a game of two halves if it's only occasionally?
Yeah, exactly. It's not. It doesn't apply to every game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one. Well, next one for me then. You're probably not going to like this because it's about Ray Parler.
Oh, he's a legend. What have you got against him?
You,
now?
yeah.
If he ends up being the next Souness, you're having a go, we're gonna have issues.
The thing about Souness, he's just built it up so much over time. Parler's only occasionally come out with clangers, and this one, I can't remember what the conversation was about, but I texted this to you when it happened. He was on TalkSport, and he goes, "A lot of decisions go against every club."
Yeah, well, I mean, that's wise words.
Yeah,
that's
you can take that on board. Yeah.
I mean, they do.
He's not wrong. Every single word he said there.
It might be slightly obvious, but
a little
don't
bit.
underestimate that. Some people don't think of that,
Yeah. A lot of decisions do go against every club. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. One that it was. So this is number 3 now, I think.
Oh, I can't remember.
Just I thought we've lost count. We saw our top 5. We're just talking.
Yeah,
but
let's just list it. Doesn't matter.
Just list all of these quotes. It is a long list. We've picked out some of the best ones. But like we say, do let us know. On Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Do let us know what your favourite football quotes are. If you ever think that doesn't make sense, let us know. We want to, and we'll give you a shout out in the next episode.
Yeah, and listen out for it because that's the important thing. So many people, I think, they just let pundits' words wash over them. And
they don't actually process it.
Yeah,
it's quite passive or whatever. And that's the thing, especially after our last episode when we were talking about pundits and like co-commentators and stuff. Listen to it. Actually, play attention to what are they saying, and does that make sense? Still enjoy the game. We're not saying don't watch the sport, just listen out for but just sort of see if they say anything that doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, we've done that for years, haven't we? I remember when the third Dark Knight film came out, Dark Knight Rises, and
great film. What are you going to say now?
Well, after I watched it, I remember there was a point when I was thinking, huh? And the friends that I watched it with afterwards, I just pointed it out, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't notice that bit."
You always do this. You ruin films.
Yeah, but no one notices this. You didn't notice it either. When this is the point, I don't know if people have watched it. I'm sure everyone's watched it by now.
That's one of the best trilogies. It's the best trilogy out there, isn't it? It's just amazing.
To be honest, I can't really think of many
Lord
others.
of the Rings maybe a bit up there as well. But.
Yeah, but yeah, so it was that bit when, what's his name, John Blake.
The Robin, yeah.
Yeah, so he goes to Wayne Manor and he says he wants to speak to Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And then he talks to Bruce. Bruce is like, "How did you know I was Batman?" And he said, "Well, it's because I was an orphan and you came to my orphanage and you were there with a beautiful model and the big smile, but I knew it was all fake. Like
you were faking it, yeah.
Yeah, and I knew at that point that you were Batman." And everyone was like, "Oh, wow, yeah." And I thought, wait, but how does he know that's Batman? Because all he knows is that he clearly has a
repressed or emotional,
which everyone knows that Bruce Wayne's family were killed right in front of him. But how does that relate to Batman? Yeah. And no one seems to have pointed it out, and it's just kind of like accepted. And that's that's another thing that I think people just let those words and scenes.
They do. That's what I think. And I think especially living with you, you ruin so many films and things like that.
I don't ruin it. I just point out obvious flaws.
Things that since you said even when you were a kid, your dad used to see that you were criticising all films and things like that.
Apparently, I was a massive Robin Hood fan when I was a little kid, like 4 or 5 years old, I'd be drawing Robin Hood all the time and stuff. And then I went to see the Robin Hood film with Kevin Costner.
Oh, classic.
My dad said apparently I was in the cinema and I was just like not engaged at all. And I would have been like 4, 5.
Never understood in that film. Kevin Costner doesn't even try and speak in an English accent. He's just American.
Yeah, it's the same as Gerard Butler in 300.
The Scottish guy. The Scottish Greek.
Yeah.
Yes. We might have gone slightly off topic again.
I can't even remember what we were talking about.
Football, I think.
Oh, football. Okay.
That one.
I think it's your go.
Quotes. Oh yeah, quotes. So yeah, I think we're somewhere around like 3. We're aim for 5, but we're not making any promises. We'll see how many we end up with.
Number 26.
Don't sue us on this, all right? So yeah, one was, and I said this to you recently, it was like a few months back or something, I said, you know that saying, you're most vulnerable after you've scored a goal?
Yeah.
Why? Why are you more vulnerable when you score? Surely you're just as vulnerable at any other point.
Yeah, you're most vulnerable after one of your players gets sent off, maybe?
Yeah, I think, if anything, you score a goal, you're confident sometimes, but again, it's not a rule. It's these statements that you use like they're rules, like that applies to every game. How many games are when you score a second and a third, or you end up winning or something?
Yeah, because that team loses confidence, like the morale
momentum, morale changes. Yeah. Suddenly everything starts, the pressure builds on the team that's losing.
Because we've played in our Sunday league, we played in games where we let in a goal and then all of a sudden it feels like we're playing uphill.
Yeah, legs are heavier and things. Yeah. And, it hits your confidence and stuff. Football's really, it's special, it's not like other sports. Right, so what's your next one then?
Well, I'm going to have to go for, we know this as Matthew Maths.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought your dad up into this. Hi, Matt. We know you're a good, a very avid listener. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I think so. So this goes out to my dad Matt. We call it Matthew Maths.
Does he know that we say this stuff?
No.
So this is going to be the first time he's ever aware that we... Okay.
On a podcast recorded. Yeah.
We love you, Matt.
So this is this goes back to, I can't remember how long ago it was, but we were in a 6-a-side team.
Was it Bath Chronicle? Way back. Ah, that was Yeah,
so it was a 6-a-side league on Wednesday evenings, and the first season, I started a season before you, didn't I? Yeah,
I think I was like 17 when you brought me in or something, or I was like late 17 or something, I think, when I first started.
You know what? I think I was also the same age, coincidentally.
Yeah, well, we were actually, we are the same age.
Yeah, that was a joke, but thanks for explaining.
I'm still processing. Carry on.
Wow.
It's late, all right?
You know that every year we're the same age, right? Aside from the 20 days.
It did seem like you're catching up with me, but actually, no, you're not. You're just as young and as old as you have been.
Yeah.
Relative to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. I'm sounding very clever, so move on.
So in that league, the first season I played, we were horrendous. I think we drew 4 and lost the rest or something like that.
You know what the problem was, don't you?
I'm guessing you're going to say you.
Well, I wasn't playing for you, so you brought me in, and obviously then we started winning, didn't we?
Yeah. To be honest, yes. I can't deny that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I can't remember. I don't think we did especially great in that season when you started, but we won games at least anyway.
Yeah.
But then I think it was the season after that, we were doing really well. I think we lost 2 games and we won or drew the rest.
Yeah.
And I think we finished second.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So there were 2 games that we lost 4-0 and 6-0. Those are the 2 games that we lost.
Right.
And this was when Matthew Maths first started, when he turned to us and he said, you know what? If we didn't let in those 4 and 6 goals, our goal difference would be 10 higher.
We'd be much better off.
Yeah. I mean, it's not wrong. Matthew Maths is correct.
Yeah, that's a brilliant statement, isn't it? Yeah. It's great. Let's not mention what he called me after at the end of the game.
You're going to have to explain it. No, I can't remember at all.
Well, no, it's just something that you call me a lot, but I'm not going to actually quote it. I think it's your nickname for me, in fact. But as we were saying bye to Matt, whatever it was, because we were going down, I think it must have been when we lived in the flat or whatever.
This was on the Tuesday nights, wasn't it?
Was it on the Tuesday? Wednesdays. And he said, all right then, and he turned around and just said, see you next Tuesday. and I just said, what did your dad call me? It's just cold, Matt. That's cold.
He meant that as well.
You know exactly. Well, it's like father, like son, isn't it? You're both this.
I've never called you that. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
This is very Very wrong.
Yes. So what's the other? Oh, the one more I've got here. One of the ones that really rubbed me up the wrong way, really annoy me, is it could go either way. Well, yes.
That's the whole.
That's the point in sport.
This is what I mean about that's football. It's just such an obvious thing. Like if it can't go either way, if it's not something where you can have an upset or anything, what's the point?
There's no point in watching it.
Yeah.
Unless I suppose Man City, like they win every game, but other than that,
well, they don't. They're not top.
Oh yeah, true. Oh yeah. Well, there you go.
So it can go.
So it can go either way.
Yeah.
Oh, it's true.
Unless Rodri plays, obviously.
So this one actually is a rule. That's true. Oh yeah, and Rodri, yeah. For Man City. But this actually is a rule. Of all the quotes, this one actually could be applied to all games.
Well, I mean, most of them can, can't they? That's football. It is football. Yeah, it is football.
Is it?
When Owen said if they don't score, they hardly ever win.
Oh yeah, true.
The only thing that you could say is incorrect is he says they hardly ever win.
Yeah.
To try and imply that
sometimes if you score more, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to win. Right.
Yeah, but I think in terms of the list of quotes, we should probably finish on the greatest, the person with the greatest quotes in history, and that's a certain James Hammett.
No. No.
This is for your students.
Oh my days.
Yeah. There's so many, aren't there? I mean, it's been going for years.
So yeah, you opened basically a notes page on your phone, and for years you've just been, that's going in the folder, that's that's going down on the notes.
You don't help yourself when you would literally, you looked at a photograph once, I remember, on my phone, and you said, oh my God, it looks like it was taken on a camera.
I'm not even sure I said that.
You absolutely did.
You're making that up.
In terms of football, I remember you came back, there was a game when I was injured or I was away or something, so I didn't play the Sunday League game, but you did. Right. You came back home and you said, we were 11 men.
Yeah. I was trying to say, so we didn't have any subs, basically. We just had 11 men.
But you ended up, maybe you watched Lord of the Rings the night before or something. You just became dramatic. We were 11 men.
Absent thought.
Yeah. Bit of Spartacus there. Yeah. And then you moaned because it was raining a lot. So you said, the slow water is making me play football slowly. Yeah,
it holds the ball up, doesn't it? It depends on the grass. If it's quite long, it holds it up and it gets stuck in it.
Yeah, but slow water. So, yeah, the fast water is making me run really fast.
Yeah, I can't defend that. That's it though, isn't it? There's certainly no more quotes.
You've
got them out your system. Is that it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's loads more, to be honest. We can next 20 minutes we can go on.
No, I'll let you have one more. You can pick one more quote.
This is football related, but it's one.
I changed my mind. No, you can't have.
We were watching a game together, and it was Arsenal. Obviously, it's the only thing you ever watch.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And you said, "Come on, lads, we're only losing 1-0. We'll win if we score one."
Yes, right. Look, that is true. Sometimes if you score one,
it's not true. You'll draw if you score one.
No.
In fact, you could still lose because they could score another one. But if you only score one, at most you would draw.
Look, you're taking it so literally. The point is, you scored one because we had so much possession and we're dominating the momentum and everything like that. We scored one. I knew that. You know, have you ever played in games where you're struggling to score? As soon as you hit one, 2 or 3 follow.
Yeah.
Kind
of the counteract to what we were saying before about when you concede a goal, you suddenly feel like you're running uphill.
Yeah.
So
suddenly the reverse happens, doesn't it? The opposite happens, and you feel much more confident. Passes start hitting their mark, and that kind of thing. You feel that extra. You feel lighter, so you can run faster, or that kind of thing.
And I completely understand that. However, what you said was, "We'll win if we score one."
You're not fine.
You're not helping yourself. You know?
Right, yeah. Okay, I understand. I thought I had one more that there's another one which annoys me. Do I have it here somewhere? I wrote it down somewhere.
But I think the thing about, because this is a fixing podcast, I've got to say, with all of these quotes, most of them, they're kind of true but obvious, or they're things that you don't necessarily need to say. And I think in terms of fixing, people just have to think a little bit before they say what they say. Souness, especially, he needs to actually stop and think about what he's going to say and then say it. if he just reminds himself that this is recorded, you know.
No, somebody's going to bring us back. You know, if you're going to say this stuff, it's like in primary school when the teacher says "think before you speak." Well, that's our fix, then, is it?
Pretty much. I think that you want to stand out in a sense when you're a pundit. You know, so you don't necessarily just splurge the same thing that other people will say. You know, this is why our podcast stands out. It's one of the greatest podcasts of all time. Yeah. In fact, I saw a stat recently saying we are something like the 57th best football podcast in Australia.
Really?
Yeah. I got an email saying that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's only our second month. Imagine what we'll be in like 2 months' time.
I know. I mean, for all we know, there's 57 football podcasts out there, but we're on the list.
That's exactly. Yes. Yeah. Well, if you don't buy a ticket, you know what's coming. You're not going to win.
You hardly ever win.
Just some other stupid quote, probably.
But if you think about it, if we are 57th out of 57, then we can only get better, unless we stay the same. So we can either stay the same.
I'm going to write that one down, Tess.
Damn it! I've just played into my own fixing.
You've done a Jamesism.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. Yeah, you know the neat feet for a big man. That was the other one that was niggling away at me. Have you that famous phrase? If they're tall or heavy or something, you know, big stocky players. Oh, he's got neat feet for a big man. He's a football player. He should have neat feet. They can play football, can't they?
It's not like they accidentally walked onto a professional football pitch, is it?
What are you doing here? You're too big.
Yeah, they have to have gotten there because of their talents.
Yes, like Peter Crouch, for example. You know, like was he 7? Was he
6'7"? I think
6'7". Yeah, there we go.
He's the most ironic footballer.
He is. He doesn't. but his touch is amazing. He's got such a great.
Well, no, I mean, as in he's the tallest footballer I've seen, but his name is Crouch.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Do you have any other valuable insights you want to share?
Shane Long. He's the shortest guy I've seen, but he's called Long.
Is he that short? I don't think
tiny.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Brilliant. There's probably another great footballer there we can bring in.
Yeah, like an ironic one. I'm not sure. I just thought Shane Long, but Peter Crouch is the one that I've always found. He's the tallest footballer I've seen, but he's called Crouch.
Brilliant. Anything else we need to chat about? We've highlighted that. So basically, we're getting people to pick. Look, just listen and sort of see if you can pick out any classics this coming weekend, for example. Yeah. In the next set of games.
I know we've fixed rules and stuff, and eventually when the FA and UEFA listen to those episodes and they take it on board, that can change. But with this, I think we can change our listeners into...
That's what we're trying to do. We're educating, aren't we?
Yeah. They're learning so much.
That's it. I had some feedback this week actually from. I'll give Archie a shout out. He said to me that a lot of what he's learned about football is he's learned from us.
Wow! So a lot of what he's learned about.
Something like that.
So he didn't know much about football until he could listen to us.
I might have misquoted him, but in general, he's learned a lot about football listening to us. Let's say that. Good. So
that is actually especially good because you can actually learn a lot about football from elsewhere, but they could be wrong, can't they?
Yeah, exactly.
This is right.
We're right, exactly.
Yeah.
So although you said Nick might be our biggest fan, you know, I'd counter that with Archie. I think he's
he's got to be up there.
Yeah, he's up there.
I mean, we've got, you know, my dad's an avid listener.
He is. Yeah.
We've got Dave who...
He might not be anymore, but...
yeah. But we've got Dave who doesn't even like football and he still listens to our podcast.
That's impressive. That's amazing. That's a real compliment actually, isn't it?
That is.
That's great.
Clearly, he likes how we talk to each other, not just doesn't matter about the subject, just in general our bants.
I think we need to bring in more diverse range of names though. They sound very like traditional man names. Nick, Archie, Dave.
Oh, what are you thinking?
We need to bring in like Fernando or something.
I see, yeah.
We need to get a bit more like, you know...
Yeah, it probably plays into... We've said before, haven't we, about footballers and names. You can be successful if you have the right name.
Yeah.
I remember during a game...
Alexis Sanchez and stuff, like what a name.
Years ago, I remember we were playing a Sunday League game and Sergio Aguero signed for City.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for us. I don't remember that.
Yeah, and I remember we were watching the game and one of our players turned to us and said, "Is Sergio Aguero a good player?" And I remember saying, "Of course he is. He's called Sergio Aguero. He's not your plumber."
No, exactly, yeah. Do it in your Scouse accent. That's what you used to always do.
Sergio Aguero.
Yeah, of course, you know.
Yeah. Luis Suarez.
It's always those sort of South American ones. They sound great in a Scouse accent, don't they?
Yeah. You can always picture Jamie Carragher talking about them all the time.
So there we are. So there's another part of football solved. We happy with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Fixed, I should say.
Yeah, ticked.
Yeah, tick that box. So like we say, so do let us know that if you spot any great statements in football, or you hear something silly this weekend, if you could let us know on Facebook or Instagram, or where else can they let us know?
Twitter.
We're literally on. What was that thing you set up last week? The tree thing. What's that called?
Linktree.
Linktree, that one.
Yeah. Just go on our Linktree on Instagram. We'll probably sound really old.
I sounded really old when I said that, to be honest. That tree thing.
Yeah.
That tree thing.
Yeah, but I mean, we want to start a YouTube channel, don't we? So we can record our podcasts there. That would be good.
Just so you know, when I had Christian Bale and those other actors pop in over the last couple of weeks, there are some clips of that on YouTube, so you can actually find some of the celebrities we've had get involved with our marketing.
Yeah.
So do go and have a listen.
Out as well. Yeah, share it out to everyone. Everyone that you know. That's mandatory, I think.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
If you are a true fan, you'll be sharing it.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to say, isn't it?
Get as many people to listen. We've got 48 die-hard fans, but we want that to be 49.
Exactly. So. Yeah. So this time next week, 49.
Yeah.
That's not bad, is it? That's all right.
Yeah. It's been less than 2 months, and we're already the 57th best football podcast in Australia.
I can't stop laughing when you say that. Right. So thanks for listening, guys, as always. And it's
See you
good.
next week.
Do we want to say that thing that you and Coots made me start saying? It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye.